dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Keep the bout clean. Touch him up. Touch him up. Go back to your corners. Good luck.
So here we go, Ramirez and Romero. Joe, Tim, and Dre on the call ringside with you. Dre, we talked about Robeisy recently, and he has his confidence. And you said to me, you said, listen, he's in a groove right now. He has found it.
Well, he's got his team together. Ismael Salas, his strength coach, Wade, and his last performance showed it, and I think he's going to continue to build off of that.
That last performance that we talk about, Timmy, was what happened against Abraham Nova, who was previously undefeated. And that was back in June in this ring, and it was a spectacular, absolutely spectacular one-punch knockout.
I think the most interesting thing was that he fought his fight. He slowly, methodically beat down Nova, and then finally set up that big power shot right down the middle.
Landed the southpaw jab to the body against Romero.
You see all the indirect movements from Robeisy. Same thing Loma does, same thing all great boxers do, is what they do before they punch to set up the punch. That's why Ramirez is able to land clean shots, because he's ducking down. He's like, okay, not right now. Okay, if he does this again, I'm going to shoot. And then he shoots, and he lands those clean, flush left hands.
And one of the points of analysis that often comes on when the three of us discuss Lomachenko and doing that, all the feints, all the angles, with the feet, with the hands, is how taxing it can be on the opponent without even getting hit.
Psychologically. That's what it is. Don't mind. You beat the mind, everything else will fall.
Power punchers try to kill the body, beat the body first. Great boxers kill the mind, then the body falls.
Take that angle in, landed the left hand.
And oftentimes the opponent doesn't even know what's happening to him. They think it's a boxing match, and then it turns into a beatdown.
The opponent for Ramirez tonight is Jose Romero, who took this huge opportunity on short notice. Got the call just 10 days ago. Jesse Magdaleno was originally scheduled, injured in training, had to withdraw. Of course, Magdaleno, the former WBO junior featherweight world champion.
Well, it's obvious Romero is a counterpuncher. You know, he fights off the back foot. He wants you to commit first and then look to make you pay. But the thing is, he's in there with a smarter counterpuncher in Ramirez. Ramirez right now, he's lulled him to sleep right now.
Looks like he's not doing much.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But he's doing a whole lot.
Just watch when he squats down and he comes up with the looping left hand over the top. If Romero doesn't see it, it's going to knock him out.
There he went with the left hand to the body. Oh, there's the left hand. And there's another one, a knockdown scored here in round number 1 from Robeisy Ramirez.
Hello. I told you.
7, 8. Walk to me.
Left hand scores the knockdown in the final seconds of round 1.
Let's go. CompuBox had him a perfect 7 of 7 on power punches in that first round, including the knockdown score.
See, it's all about lulling him to sleep. I told you he's going to drop. Change levels. Came around that guard right there with that looping left hand. Boom. You know, the first shot just missed, just off the mark. But then you see the adjustment. He sees the hand placement on the outside. He comes in between with that left hand.
And the real setup was the straight left to the body that you called out, Joe, which tells the opponent, oh, I don't have to protect my head anymore. I just need to focus on my body. And then, boom, you get hit with a shot to the head.
Let's go. Get him out.
Robeisy Ramirez is basically fighting a title eliminator tonight. Here's what's going on according to multiple sources. February 3rd, Emmanuel Navarrete and Oscar Valdez are expected to fight for the 130-pound title. Shakur Stevenson just gave up on the scales. Later that month, Robeisy, if he wins tonight, which certainly seems like a lock, he'd fight Isaac Dogbe for Navarrete's title. One caveat, if Navarrete loses to Valdez, he could go back down and fight for the title at 126 again, the WBO title.
Very interesting. So assuming everything holds form, it would be this fight, a win here tonight if he gets past Romero, and then Isaac Dogboe himself coming off a significant victory for the vacant title. Remember, Navarrete is set to fight Valdez. Mark?
Yes, that will be February 3rd, the Navarrete Valdez at a venue to be determined. And later that month, that's the plan, there will be Robeisy and Dogboe.
Which would be a fun fight. But right now there's business to take care of here. Round number 2 against Romero.
If you're Romero, you don't have anything to lose. He can't sit on the outside against a guy like Ramirez. He needs to try to get his offense going, try to land some shots, try to get some respect, and try to pile up some points because he's making it too easy for Ramirez. All Ramirez is doing is getting closer, getting closer, getting closer, and then he's going to land the left hand just like he did in the first round.
It'll be nasty, too. I mean, at this point in the fight, I mean, Romero, he has 2 chances, slim and none.
That's it?
Slim and none, dude. I'm telling you.
Okay.
But you know what Romero's used to? He's used to going down in the first couple of rounds. He gets up, he finishes strong, he finds a way.
What's interesting to me about Ramirez is he's doing all of this without a jab. Like, he's supposed to be using the right jab to probe and get closer and get his range, but he's found a way to not use the jab, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it works for him. Duck down and creep forward without his opponent even realizing.
And all those level changes he throws. Those subtle, little, small, little level changes. Bend at the waist, bend his knees, and then he comes right up over the top. Bring your eyes down.
Anytime Ramirez throws to the body, you can expect something coming upstairs, just like that.
Dre, when he lands that back, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be timber. It's coming. Just a matter of time.
There is Loma, and for tonight only, new customers can make a $5 bet on tonight's main event between Vasily Lomachenko and Jermaine Ortiz and win $100 in free bets no matter the outcome. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up now with promo code ROPES. We have seen so many boxing champions here ringside tonight. Teofimo Lopez, the undisputed champion, Devin Haney, and Sergey Kovalev is sitting ringside here tonight. Of course, Dre very familiar with Sergey. Robeisy Ramirez with a 22-7 connect advantage scored the knockdown in round number 1. He's 17 of 27 on his power shots. 63% of his power punches have landed through 2 rounds against Jose Romero. Romero comes out, combination punching as Ramirez covers up.
To me, it's easy math. If Romero waits, he's got problems.
Yes.
So why not punch? You still may have problems, but you also may land something.
That's right. You're still going to have problems, but you may as well buy the lottery ticket. Bernardo.
Yeah, Jose Romero, Ruben's father is telling him, look, do not plant your feet and don't corner yourself. Stay off the ropes and continue to move. Don't fight his fight.
I don't care if you took the fight with 2 days' notice. If you took the fight, you got to believe in yourself to some degree, and you need to try to show it right now because guys like Ramirez don't take it easy because you took a fight on short notice.
Right, he was getting ready for his own fight and decided
well, then we can take that off the table.
Exactly.
But stylistically, he wasn't preparing for this guy just like Ramirez wasn't.
Look at Ramirez trying to draw him in, saying, yeah, come on, throw that right hand.
And it's like Romero don't have an amateur. I mean, like he don't have pedigree. He does. I mean, he had 92 amateur fights. He was 82, 5-5. So,
yeah, but
I mean, different country, I get it.
Yeah.
Argentina, I mean, I understand, Dre, but I'm just saying.
I know it.
And he did go the distance with Isaac Cruz, full distance.
Look at this. Just showing him the angle and the footwork for a moment.
Ramirez would be more successful if he did use the jab. He can abandon it in spots, but he should use it.
Man.
Hitting the accelerator. Just missed with that sweeping left hand.
I think that's a weakness of Ramirez, which is also a strength, right? The left hand, but he gets too left hand dominant at times. Is that going to work against championship caliber competition?
You want to see more versatility, more well-rounded game. Right now he's only landed 5 jabs, to your point, but 26 of 41 power punches. He's at 64% on his power percentage.
And it's so funny, he uses the same feint over and over and over again. And none of these fighters seem to figure that out.
A jab in the face of Ramirez would slow some of that madness down.
But look, every time, drop.
Closing in on our main event, Vasily Lomachenko, Jermaine Ortiz. Ortiz has sparring experience against Loma.
Jermaine, you sparred extensively with Vasily for the Richard Comey fight. What did you take from that experience?
It was a great experience being in there with him and just to see how our footwork matched the person across the ring from you can definitely bring out the best out of you. I've gotten a lot of rounds with him, 5 weeks sparring.
Whose advantage is that? Yours or his, ultimately?
That's real tough to say. I really think that's tough because sparring is sparring. It's not, you're not going all out. I was just trying to imitate Richard Comey as much as possible.
What tendencies did you notice watching him as a fighter or sparring with him?
One, he's a late starter. If you watch him long enough, it's the same thing over and over and over again. So if you got that down packed, you're gonna know what's coming.
So that's Ortiz's take on having gotten training camp time with Lomachenko. But when we spoke to Lomachenko about sparring with Ortiz, as we're underway with round number 4 here, Ramirez and Romero, Vasily was very respectful, if not lauding Ortiz in terms of some of his physical gifts.
He said, Ortiz understands boxing. Translation, he knows what he's doing, and he got my respect.
Man, look, have you ever heard Floyd or any of the top guys talk down or talk bad about their opponents?
Yes.
I haven't. I haven't. They always talk them up.
You mean the very elite, like guys on the top of the pound for pound?
I'm talking about
It depends on who it is.
At the top.
It depends on who Floyd was facing.
They don't talk them down.
Ismael Salas just told me, look, this is the first time that Romero's been dropped. We want to take him into deep waters just like we did against Abraham Nova, and we're going to use lateral movements, try to entice him to throw, and then punish him.
Well, in that fight against Abraham Nova back on June 18th, they also got to him earlier than when the stoppage, the knockout came, because there was a good left hand that landed in that fight from Ramirez in round number 3. Then it was the devastating knockdown, the finisher that came 2 rounds later.
But this is the danger for Ramirez. I'm not thinking just this fight. I'm thinking up the road. You can't just throw the left hand. You're a great boxer. I don't see the boxing ability. I see what he's doing from an IQ standpoint, but use your skill, use your speed, use your angles, and then all of a sudden, let the left hand be a surprise. Right now, he's getting away with just loading up with this left hand, but you have to think up the road, will it work?
Well, what's interesting is now the news that we've gotten from Mark Kriegel, we know what the next exit up the road is.
Right.
We know what that next stop on the path is, and that would be against Isaac Dogbe, the former world champion at 122 pounds, now a top contender, a very top contender at 126 pounds. And these two, assuming a Ramirez win tonight, would be fighting for the vacant belt that Navarrete is leaving behind by going up to face Valdez at 130.
Those 2 body shots are real mean right there from Ramirez. Romero did not like those. You see him trying to get himself together while trying to poker face his pain at the same time, and Ramirez isn't buying it.
There's a left hand that came in.
Dre, he beating him down with one hand, right?
That's right.
He beat him down with one hand, the left hand.
But the right hand is coming into play.
If that's working, keep doing it.
But you see him picking up the right hand right now, the right jab.
Yeah, a little bit probing with the jab to do that right there. And again, splitting guard left hand, goes underneath with it, comes wide with it. 4 consecutive left hands. End of 4, Ramirez in complete control. Dominated that round as well. Heard from Jermaine Ortiz moments ago about sparring with this man, Vasily Lomachenko, the former #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Here's what Loma himself had to say about that experience.
He was in my camp and helped me to prepare to my opponent, Richard Comey. And he always tried to show his style. You prepare to your opponent like in just a sparring partner. It can be a very, very big trouble. So I prepare very, very hard, and I prepare like always, and I focus on my opponent very serious.
From one 2-time Olympic gold medalist who's coming up in his much anticipated return fight to another who's in the ring right now, and that is Robeisy Ramirez, starting round number 5 here against Jose Romero, the 26-win veteran from Argentina who was dropped in round number 1 from a left hand from Robeisy. Look at the power punch connects. 49-9 advantage, Robeisy Ramirez.
Ramirez has to go back to that jab test and fall back in love with his fundamentals. Use the new wrinkles, show the new power, but you got to be skillful and use the gifts you have to hide that left hand. Everybody's not going to go from the first big left hand that you hit him with.
Ramirez right now just being very crafty inside the ring. Just waiting on that right shot, that one shot, that single shot to turn the lights out on Romero.
But he's missing a lot of opportunities in the meantime.
Yeah, he's not wasting anything, you know. Very economical. I would love to see him go back downstairs with that left hand. That will take the attention off the top.
You see Romero waking up just a little bit, taking a few more chances, throwing a few more punches.
But that's Romero's MO, honestly. He gets dropped. He's dropped in a couple of fights early on and then comes back and falls his way back into the fight somehow.
I think the body shots are the key. The right jab and the body shots are the key for Robeisy Ramirez.
There your jab, Dre. There it is. That was the jab right there. It was about 3 of them, back to back to back.
Pick them up. Pick yours up. Let's go.
But Ramirez knows this already. He just can get away with not using it.
That's exactly.
But you see him in spots, say, okay, let me go ahead and go back and pick my jab. He knows this already.
Well, this is playing out exactly the way Bernardo said their corner wanted it to play out when he listened into Ismael Salas and what they were discussing in the corner. And to 5, time to remind you that the punch of the night is brought to you by AutoZone. As we watched earlier tonight, Timmy, the continued development of Nico Ali Walsh. This was against Billy Wagner.
Nice swivel jab right there from Nico Ali Walsh.
And now what's going on here? Will post-fight session? This happens time and again, Dre, where Nico will come over and say, all right, Timmy, you tell me. What did you see? What do I need to work on? How's this going?
Listen, man, you can't continue to get hit with that right hand. I've been stressing him his entire career so far. Get away from that right hand, and he still hasn't. He got hit flush with that right hand a couple of times. I don't like to see that, Tess. I don't like to see that. It's no point intended. I need to see improvement in that area. So I'm just helping the young man out. That's it, Tess. Helping him out.
Time. Oh. What's the problem here? What's going on? Okay, go ahead. He's good?
Ringside physicians looking over Jose Romero, who has absorbed 53 power shots from Ramirez.
Time in.
Round 6 scheduled for 10. And then it is the return of Vasily Lomachenko at 34 years old, 322 days away from the ring.
Tess, I'm just going to tell you, you know, Ramirez can end this fight anytime he wants to. All he has to do is step on the gas.
Dre, you agree with that?
Yeah, I just think he has to go about it a certain way. Romero's not the guy. He can possibly land one big shot. He did it, and he dropped Romero. But if you want to make it easier, then you got to go back to what he knows. Fundamentals of boxing, show off the big power in the left hand, but do it the right way.
Romero got 9 knockouts. He got less knockouts than I had during my career.
You don't see him as a threat. Step right to him.
Step right to him and take him out. All he has to do is rev it up. His firepower, his arsenal that he has is no joke.
Looks like he's been trying to wrap around that right hook to the body a few times here in this 6th round, has Ramirez.
But he's looking for one shot at a time. That's it, just one shot. Put him in combination sequence.
There's another right hand to the body, and again. Sweeping shots to the belt line after throwing the left upstairs.
See Ramirez feint downstairs, and because he landed those 2 clean shots, Romero went for the feint. Just like that.
Absolutely, there it is.
That's what I say. Make them dance. That's how you make them dance like that.
He's making them dance.
That's when the feint is at the right distance.
He wants to look low and go high. That's what Ramirez wants to do. That's one of his greatest assets, is to look his opponent off. It's like in football, when the run is working, you can sell the play action.
Saw that a lot with Notre Dame earlier today.
Yes.
Man, he need to hurry up and do something. I'm starting to fall asleep, man.
Oh, don't blink, Timmy, because you know he can bring it here.
Yeah, but turn it up.
Traps are laid. There he goes. Turns it up for a 3-punch combination. Goes to the body with the left hand.
He must have heard me.
Good shot from Ramirez right there around the guard. Why not go back?
He's like that right hand to the body in this round. Goes with the left uppercut. And that is how he will close out round 6. Let's listen into the corner. Bernardo will translate for us.
Hey, did you see those 3 punches that we talked about? All right, we were talking about it in the corner. Hey, you got this. You've got to be sure that you're going to poke at him. Take some deep breaths. Hey, just hit him on that side. Your left hand has got him going crazy. He's swollen too. He's all swollen in the face.
Vamos, quítate los guantes ahora.
All right, clean your gloves.
Estamos bien, men. Sigue picando duro. Tres
Just keep
golpes
poking at
de
him.
vez en
3
cuando,
shots
por
at
si
a time.
acaso,
Every once in a
¿entiendes?
while, throw combinations.
Let's see if this is the moment, Timmy, that you want to see.
Yeah, maybe he's just, you know, waiting for the right time, letting Romero weaken a little bit more.
81 to 19 connect advantage. 65 of the 81 are power punches.
Good sneaky right hand from Romero right down the pipe.
There's the right hand to the body again. You can see redness on that left side of Romero's body. Punches by round. It has been a dominating form. Came off the gas a bit in the 5th. Timmy didn't like that. First round 10 punches, one of them scored the knockdown.
Tess, I just want to see a little bit more variation in his offense. I mean, if you're throwing the punches at the same speed and one punch at a time, the opponent's going to get acclimated to that. He's going to understand what you're doing. But if you change up that cadence and you start putting punches together, then something will eventually land that he doesn't see. And that's what I need to see from Ramirez.
You know, it's interesting considering the news that Mark Kriegel told us when this fight started that we didn't know, that what's on the line for Ramirez. He knows right now that Navarrete is going to vacate and go to 130 pounds for a showdown for a championship against Valdez, which means that Isaac Dogboe would await in February for the vacant world title, the WBO world title. In any way, does that affect the way he goes about this fight in terms of not needing to take much risk, and then you score the first round knockdown, so you just want to make sure you get the win?
I don't think so. Maybe for some guys, but I don't think for Ramirez. I think that he's just unable to get Romero out of there, and credit to Romero. I don't think this is intentional by Ramirez.
There's a left hand that comes in as he gets him in the corner.
And I know that because those punches got bad intentions on him.
Well, you really see that redness on the left side of Romero's body. There have been 28 body connects landed by Ramirez to this point.
Ain't nobody going to be dying to see him fight right now. I'll tell you that much, man. Come on. That's what I'm talking about.
Combination to end the 7th. We mentioned the body work. Here's a look at it.
Good right jab right there from Ramirez. Should have been using more of that. And he's landed that right hook, a lead right hook, which is not easy to land all night long. You see the redness on the side of Romero's body. I'd like to see Ramirez turn his left underneath after the right hook. And Ramirez has had good moments in good spots, but he hasn't had a lot of sustained attacks in this fight.
Ahora lo que tiene que asegurarte es meterle los tres golpes sólidos.
You can get him out of here. What you got to do is combine your punches. Clean your gloves.
Estamos bien, hacer.
We're doing well. Come on.
Let's go.
Round 8 scheduled for 10. And then it is Lomachenko and Ortiz.
This is when Ramirez has to believe in his work, his preparation.
Watch your heads. Cabeza.
He did enough running, sparring. He did everything. He checked every single box. You have to believe in your conditioning, in your training. And if he does that, he can stop Romero. No doubt in my mind.
Good single body shot, but Ramirez needs to bring both hands. And if you're Romero, you need to block and fire. Don't just take the punishment, try to dish some out yourself.
Ismael Salas just told me, look, I meant what I said. I think we can get him out. When he throws 3-punch combinations, you just saw how effective he was. It's the follow-up now that I want him to do.
There's the first level, second level attack, third level attack. It's like, okay, you land, but what's next? That's what he's missing right now.
Was it going to come out of that turtle shell with something today?
Almost like a cross guard defense.
Yeah, cross guard.
Trying to come around with a sweeping hook. Just trying to be a little bit creative. Trying to keep himself entertained, I guess. You know, things can get a little boring in the ring, especially when you don't have your opposition throwing any punches at you. Guys, they entertain themselves differently. Some guys, they like to hoorah, hoorah, jump around and try to showboat. Is that a backhand? He slapped him with that jab.
Illegal to do.
He slapped.
Left uppercut was just glancing.
You see the explosion. You see the fireworks. That's what I'm talking about. He's with a great strength and conditioning trainer, and Larry Wade, I'm sure, that pushed him to the limit. He has to believe in his conditioning. Let those hands go.
Timmy, you want to see what caught your attention with that flicking jab? Here's a quick look.
Probably the most interesting thing in this round. Oh, no, that wasn't a backhand. That was nice. He turned that over at the end of it. It came out. Look, the guy came across his body, and then he turned the thing over. It's clever, very clever. Oh, man.
Coming up on round number 9 here, you see the total punches, dominating form from Ramirez, total control. By the way, Bernardo did a great job with that Torres fight with you guys. I didn't get the chance to chime in because I was getting ready to do our set segment. But what did you do? The heavyweight Richard Torres that we saw moments ago, and you can go to ESPN.com for more replay here on the app. What was your final takeaway on Richard Torres, the heavyweight prospect?
I love him.
I do too.
He's entertaining.
Isn't he wildly entertaining?
Yes, he is.
And the reason I think of that as we're sitting here is because it's the opposite of what we've been seeing for the last few rounds.
Yes.
Because I was sitting offside with some casual fans and big sports fans and some football folks, and they could not take their eyes off of Richard Torres.
Exactly, because he brings that action. You know, I love a sweet boxer. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I enjoy watching a sweet boxer and a guy dissect the fighter the right way. But I also like aggressive fighters, guys that like to bring that action and pain inside the ring. That's what you see from Richard Torres.
And there is Lomachenko making his final preparations. The Venom gloves are on. That camo with the Ukrainian flag. Of course, one of the great stories in all of sports this year of the decision that so many Ukrainian athletes made, but specifically the championship level boxers. And Lomachenko at the height of his career with the opportunity to fight for millions upon millions, to fight for the undisputed lightweight championship. All he's ever wanted is to be undisputed. Made a decision to leave the sport, to go home, to serve, to be with his fellow countrymen in the midst of the conflict when his country was invaded. And now tonight he returns to the ring. And that is happening in just moments.
You know what happened to Ramirez? Came in here with a knockout mentality, coming off of the Abraham Nova fight and all the love he got from that. he got out of rhythm. His rhythm was knockout. His rhythm was walk you down, land the big left hand. That didn't work. Now he's having to switch back and forth between trying to box, but he really just, he can't get his shot right there.
Too late.
Sends him back with a left hand. Now he jumps on him on the ropes. Can he close things out here in round 9? Now he's walking straight into him as you see blood coming from the mouth of Romero.
He might be done.
Here comes Ramirez with plenty of time to work with. And there's a left hand and another big left hand. And it is a knockout victory for Robeisy Ramirez.
There it is.
And Tim, I know you're going to turn to me right now and say he could have done that 4 rounds ago, 3 rounds
He
ago.
definitely could have done that.
Yeah, I mean, he just made it harder than he had to have made it. He should have came out boxing, be aggressive. You can be a power boxer, and then try to set that up. I just think the game plan was too obvious. He wanted to land the perfect shot that he landed against Nova, and this guy's an experienced guy. He's got almost 30 pro fights. He knows how to protect himself. So, yes, you got the shot through finally in the 9th round, but a lot happened in between there that could have been a lot more efficient and a lot better if he set it all up.
When all is said and done, 108 power punches landed over the course of those 9 rounds. The knockdown was scored in the 1st round. The finisher came in the 9th round.
See, this is what I was hoping that Ramirez would do. I knew that looping left hand was going to be danger for Romero from the opening bell because he keeps his right hand down low. He was biting on every single feint, and that is Ramirez's MO. He looks for that shot, that backhand. Great finish from Ramirez. I thought he fought a cautious fight, but he found the kill shot, Dre. Found the kill shot and ended this match tonight.
He finally found it. Great finish, but things are going to step up from this fight forward, and Ramirez needs to not forget who he's always been, the same guy that got him those 2 gold medals. Add on to the new elements of your game, the nuance of your game. Add to it. Don't forget who you are and try to be completely somebody else.
Let's get it up to Mark Chinook.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden, referee Danny Schiavone calls a stop to this bout at 2 minutes, 20 seconds of round number 9. Declaring your winner by technical knockout and still USBA and WBO Global Featherweight Champion, Robeisy Ramirez.
So prior to this, he stopped the last 2 opponents inside of 5. Now he gets rid of Romero in 9, and now a vacant title can be claimed.